Okay, so I'd like to thank you for joining me tonight. Every couple of weeks we'll run these little webinar series, and that way existing users or potential new users can jump in. We sort of take you through the software and kind of show you what it does and how it does it. I encourage you to ask questions. There's a text box on the bottom portion of the GoToMeeting control bar. You can certainly type them in there. And then every once in a while, I'll stop and just kind of ask the group if there's any questions as we go along. So, again, welcome. Um, I've logged into my hospital in Orlando, Florida. This is our home or dashboard screen. And basically, it's going to give you just kind of an overview. You'll have in the bottom right the appointments for today. These are all hot links, which means you can double click on a client's name and it will take you to the create appointment screen. And you'll be able to see who it is and why they're coming in. We've also built hot links to see the client record and the patient record from here. We've got little chart labels that you can print that has basic client and pet information. You can also have the ability to type some orders in here if you want. And these are kind of nice for forms and sheets and take-home papers so you can identify the patient. I'm going to jump back to the home screen. On the home screen, we're going to have a little mini calendar here. Again, you can jump to dates throughout the calendar. Right in the middle here is a low inventory highlight and a low inventory report. Open invoices on the bottom left are we use it for both hospitalized and boarded patients. And then if we have folks coming in to pick up medication or who promise to pay me on Friday type of thing, we'll leave those as open invoices so they're brought to everyone's attention each time they log in. Of course, you can search by multiple different variables. And then you have the ability from here to launch into creating a new client, scheduling an appointment, or creating a new transaction. I'm trying to try and keep the overview kind of brief because we're going to hit these topics in detail in the coming webinars, and we can always schedule a private one with you. But before I go any further, does anybody have any questions on this section? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, great. Let's jump to the client and patients tab. Again, you're going to have multiple search variables. We've got little comment boxes. We'll show you that in the patient information section. You'll notice these little paw prints here. Vet Office Suite has Pet Portal or client access built in. So clients are able to access certain parts of their pet's medical records. If a client has been offered Pet Portal access, there'll be a grayed out paw print here. And if they've activated it, the paw print turns green. So you know who has been able to log in and gather up their medical records. All of these client name and pet names are hot linked. We'll jump into that in just a minute. Again, we can search by multiple variables. And what's nice is as you start to type in an owner's last name, actually that's patient, but as you start to type in an owner's last name, it's going to populate with the appropriate variables. You can search by existing patients or deceased patients. We'll just go ahead and pull this client up. Here you can see this client has activated Pet Portal access. We've got some comments here. This particular pet, this is how deceased pets will show up. They'll be grayed out. And these are all the pets for this particular client, who just happens to be my daughter. You can see we've got the ability to put pictures in here, patient pictures. What's really nice is they'll upload directly from your iPhone or your iPad. It doesn't require any emailing or dragging or dropping. And then once you upload that picture, if you need to change its orientation, you can do that with the photo rotator button. This is the pet information screen. We can print spay-neuter certificates. We can print microchip certificates. And we can add any comments to the patient in this comment box that we would like. Basic information here on the pet. If we jump to the client, Again, a lot of basic stuff here, but email addresses in Vet Office Suite are mandatory because we do appointment reminder emails, and we do vaccine, office exam, and preventative reminders for you. For those clients who don't have emails, we recommend you put in something like no email at noemail.com. We also encourage you to fill out both the home phone and the mobile phone field. In particular, the mobile phone field is important because we have text messaging queued up in our development plans so that clients will get text messages for upcoming appointments and reminders. This is where this little tick box is where you can give clients pet portal access, some basic billing information down here. We do have the ability to track how clients found you, so we've got a host of variables here, and there is a report for this. And then if they've been referred by an existing client, you can always just, again, start typing that client's name in, and you'll be able to, let me just go and change that to a different client. You'll be able to keep track of clients. If you want to do some referral rewards programs, you have the ability to do that. Any questions so far on clients and patients?
When you were back on the patients section and there were the spay-neuter certificates and things like that that you said you could print, can those also be emailed from there?
Yes, they can be printed. Better yet, the clients can actually go in and get those themselves. But okay, to email them, generally all you really need to do is save this as a PDF. If you are running on your iPad or your iPhone, you can screenshot it and email that. There's a host of ways to do that. We don't have, we're tinkering with the idea of, I personally think it adds too many steps, but the ability to email directly from within the application, we don't have yet, just because it becomes challenging to keep track of those emails. So for me, this is something that, if you're running in Chrome, I don't know if you can see the little bar down here in the bottom right, but I would save this certificate, and then I would go ahead and email that.
I noticed you have a spot for a signature on there. You're going to email it without a signature? Or?
Yeah, so our vaccine certificates, actually, we have a signature box where you can store your signature for vaccine certificates. With this particular spay-neuter certificate, I'll have to get the guys to queue that up, but one of the issues is which doctor is going to sign. So for me, if I'm doing this, I'm just going to save this. I'll show you. I'll just save it to my desktop. We'll go ahead and open that. Adobe's got a really nice new Adobe Reader that allows you to drop your signature right in pretty much anywhere. It's just a question of how much stuff do you want out there, but with the new Adobe Reader, you can just draw your signature right on here and then email that from there.
Or you can just print it and hand it to them after you sign it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd say our offices are paperless, and yet I'm continually amazed by how much paper we still manage to generate. Let me see. Let me show you just kind of how the vaccine certificates, medical history, vaccinations. I'll just do this. So, I haven't got my signature here. This is how the vaccine certificates look. If a particular doctor, this is just a demo case, but if a particular doctor has invoiced out those vaccines and you choose to do it, your signature will appear right on that vaccine certificate. And we digitally save those for you. You can do that with an iPad. You can do it with your mouse. But as you can see here, we have a tick box to use this signature for certificates. And when you save that, if you choose to do it, it will show up, and clients can then print those certificates from the pet portal. Let me jump back in here. And
now, I have put a question on chat. I see that. Oh, I see that. I see Orly Bregman. What if Orly had a spouse or a significant other, and I had that person's name I was trying to find them in a search. Can I search for more than one name, one first name?
No, but what you can do is you can put two first names in the first name box if you'd like. We do that oftentimes for clients, and two last names as well, and it will search for that. Of course, you can search by phone number. And then if you don't have the client's name, but you have the pet's name, of course, you can always search by pet name, and
Sure.
you will get all of the pets, for example, that have the name Max, and then you're going to be able to go ahead and select that client. I haven't had that
Sure.
request before, actually, Stephen.
Really, I'm surprised. I've looked at every software at least twice. Most of them have, the ability to search for more than one name because, there might be a Bruce and a Bob. So,
Again, what we pride ourselves on is being able to build the software for our users and what they want. And certainly with a cloud-based application, it's pretty easy to go ahead and add a variable like that in. That doesn't take very much effort at all.
Right. Sure. Nice idea for a small improvement.
We've got sort of your electronic medical record is going to be based under the patient. I'm just going to go over this quickly. Again, I don't want to, this is more of an overview tonight than nailing down the specifics, but we do have a document and image uploader built into the software, and it will pre-populate with a host of folders. You do have the ability to add any folder of any type that you like. When you jump into these folders, for example, we've got our Abaxis machine hooked up, and we drop these out as PDFs and upload them right into the medical record. But what's nice about this is there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can actually select file, and then if you want, you can upload one, or you can hold down the shift key and upload a host of files. So particularly if you're going to upload a bunch of x-rays and you've got them in a folder, you can just upload them all at once. We also have drag and drop capability built in. So if you are running a couple of different windows and you want to just drag something in, you can drag that right in and upload that. And this will handle files up to 10 megabytes in size. If you are running on your iPad, your iPhone, your Android device, you can upload clinical images directly into the medical record from here. And you're just going to drag them. These are a couple of videos that we uploaded. The videos on the computer have to be downloaded, but on the iPhone or iPad, they'll just go ahead and play. And then actually I saw this patient today. She tore her cruciate. So we were able to upload a host of x-rays, again, with a single drag and drop. And what's nice is you have these as JPEGs. And the beauty of a JPEG is it's a small file that you can upload on a 4G connection, a cellular connection, and you're going to have your x-rays sort of right at the tip of your fingers. These can all be renamed, of course, should you choose to do that. And that's really where we're going to be keeping lab results. As you can see, invoices can be saved and printed. So if you want to do estimates, they'll be stored in here. And that's done automatically from the transaction screen. So this is our document and image uploader. Any questions about that? Pretty straightforward.
I don't know. I don't know if this is exactly where this question belongs, but if I order a chemistry on my in-house catalyst, will your software send the order to the machine and then retrieve the information?
No, it will not. We've had a lot of. There's so much equipment out there that it becomes an issue. I think IDEX makes catalyst, correct?
Yes.
So generally for us, what we're advocating for is, I know certainly with the Abaxis equipment, that those lab results can be brought out as PDFs. I don't know if you can do that with a catalyst or not. But for us, just because there's so much, there's so much varying equipment out there, and if they change their API or their user interface, it becomes really challenging to integrate with all the various lab equipment devices out there. So we have elected to use drag and drop. And you can see this is our, as I showed you before with our Abaxis system, we're able to get these dumped right onto a folder on a working PC in the office. And then we simply drag and drop those into the device. Same with our x-rays. We do have an Antec integration queued up. Antec is very nice in that they will give you the roadmap to do that integration. It is a timely and expensive venture, but that is in process. And the goal with that, if you use Antec, is going to be you can make your lab orders and then have those results populate directly back into the patient record.
That's not been so forthcoming?
Yeah, we've got it queued up. The guys are working on it, but it's not going to be tomorrow or next week, but it certainly is in development.
Okay, good.
That's the one I'm kind of, as a veterinarian, that's the one I want. But, you know, from a development standpoint, you've got to be really careful with these APIs and these quote unquote integrations, because if it doesn't work, you're not going to yell at Antec, you're going to yell at me, even though it's not maybe my fault. So, you know, we have to make sure that that is spot on before we go ahead and launch it.
Okay.
We've got a medical history section here where you can track master problems. And we downloaded the AHA, I forget the nomenclature, but they have a list that is available. And should you wish to do it, there's a host of diseases and conditions in here. We allow you to, you know, assign that disease or condition to the patient. You do have to make a few notes here if you want. And what that does is allow you to track master problems by date and whether they are active or resolved. We do have an allergy component to that. That's going to be mainly just stuff that you're going to type in by hand. Our prescription section is driven from the invoice screen. And what it's going to do is anytime an inventory item is transacted for a patient and a prescription label is created, it's going to get dropped into this section of that office suite. And what's nice is that prescription label and the instructions and the expiration date are going to be dropped in here as well. So you're always going to have a record of not only the drug and what and how much was dispensed, but the instructions that were given to the client. And what's nice is you only have to key that in once in a transaction. It's going to populate for you. Similar with vaccinations. This particular pet hasn't been vaccinated, but we'll show you one that has. And then we've just got an overall services. This is sort of like a running history where it will list all of the services and procedures that have been offered for that patient, including prescriptions. So that's going to be a brief overview of the medical history. Questions? We've got a SOAP form built in. Our SOAPs will keep chronological track of weights as long as you enter them. Problems will be listed here, the date that they were created. Most states want some type of lockout on a SOAP where they're not, you can't edit them anymore. And we've designed that to be 24 hours after the creation date. We do have, you can see here, it says reopen. The account owner, whoever that might be, that's the only person, we call it sort of our super admin. They can reopen a SOAP and make changes should they choose to. And then the date that that SOAP was modified will be tracked here. But that can only be done by the person that owns the account. Let's take a look at a SOAP form and how we complete those. All of our forms are going to be pre-populated with practice and client information, pet information. If you update the weight here, it will update it in the pet information screen. And then we've got a lot of drop-down buttons built in with some basic problems and presenting complaints. Generally, we're going to have an other category. So if you want, you know, if what you're looking for is not there, you can add that in on your own. And then anywhere that there's a text box, and mobility is key for us, the Siri talk to text functionality works quite nicely. It'll even pick up a lot of the medical terms so that if you don't like to type, you can populate these text boxes with talk to text. We've got some subjective exam findings, TPR, body condition score, and then body systems. Normal is the default, not examined for fractious patients. Then there's going to be some tick boxes for basic diagnostics, your assessment of the patient, treatment and recommendations. Doctors will be here. And then again, iPad, iPhone, touchscreen, or mouse. You're going to have the ability to sign off on those soaps. Questions?
I have one. If, say, for instance, if you're going to do an in-depth ophthalmic exam, do you have any type of thing that doesn't have the full body systems? I could just put more information, preload more information on just ophthalmic conditions?
Well, we do. If you'll see over here on the left, we do have reports and forms, and we try to create those based on something that our users are going to find really valuable. So, I encourage folks, if they have a particular form that they really like, to submit it. And if we think it's going to work, we're going to go ahead and create that form for all of our users to use.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have ultrasound, radiology, and surgery forms here. Again, the surgery form will just kind of give you an idea of how that works. I've been trying to get a dental form in, but trying to find a non-copyrighted dental chart is a little challenging. But again, it's going to be lots of drop downs. Going to be populated with different local anesthetics, pain management, induction drugs, fluid products. Here's your surgery report, tissues that you may have biopsied, various suture materials, various sizes, and the goal is to try and, maximize minimize the amount of time filling these forms out to maximize your patient time. And once these are saved, they can be edited again for 24 hours, and then they are printable. We've got a health certificate built in. We've got an estimate form built in, and then we have a euthanasia release built in. And when you complete that release, or when you transact out a euthanasia code, that pet is going to get tagged deceased for you. So that's kind of an overview of the clients and patients section. We're going to go into that in detail next Monday night. We'll spend a bit of time in there. Scheduling. This is our calendar. You guys are going to get a sneak peek here and show you what we've got coming out, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But basically, we've got a calendar view. You can hover over all of these different appointments and find out what the appointments are for. On the left here, you'll notice we've got a doctor's view where if you wish, you can look at an individual doctor and see that doctor's upcoming appointments. We've got day view, a week view, a monthly view, and then our agenda view, which gives a running list of appointments. But what I want to do is kind of show you what it's going to look like in about, I'm hoping, 2 weeks. This is sort of running under the hood. So this is what our new calendar is going to look like. This is live on. This is one of my offices that we do our beta testing on. Doctors are going to be color coded. If you have a doctor called surgery appointment, you can assign different colors. We've just got a nice, a little more crisp, and I think aesthetically pleasing calendar here. These will be the day views where you'll see the doctor, the owner, and the patient. And then our agenda view will give you even a little bit more information as to why that client is coming in. So we're hoping to have this released. And, I never like to be definitive about releases, but as you can see, it's up and running now. And I'm hoping in 2 weeks, maybe 3 at the latest. The other nice thing about this release is that once it's completed, clients will be able to make appointment requests via the pet portal, where they can select a preferred appointment date and time. And then the folks that you designate will receive an email and then can select that appointment time that works for your practice and call that client back. Questions?
if somebody's looking for open appointment, will it show open slots at different time intervals? Like if you want every 15-minute appointments?
Well, you can set your appointment slots as you'd like. As far as what the clients see online, basically at this point, it's going to be a very simple: pick the date, pick the time that you come in, and then our staff will get back to you with a either a yes or a no.
I see on the page here it's every half hour.
Yeah, that's how we book. Yeah, certainly if you're going to book quarter hour or 15, the thickness and the appointment start times are going to change accordingly. You can actually with our appointment scheduler, you can book appointments from 5 minutes all the way up to an hour and a half if you want.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for right there.
Yep.
Okay.
So we struggled with this for a while. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but now it's basically, you can, for example, if you want to block off 6 hours, you can just, we've got a client, we've named a client blocked appointment time, and we'll just block that time off. But you got a lot of flexibility here with appointment length, and the system will not allow you to double book a doctor. So you're not, if you're the type of doctor who's going to see 2 appointments in one time slot, you're going to create either exam room doctors or you're going to be in the system as 2 different doctors, because we had a lot of issues with practices saying and complaining about systems that allowed folks to get double booked. So we don't allow that. Couple other things here. We do have this appointment confirmed tick box. In our practices, the day before a client has an appointment, our staff will call. They'll confirm the appointment. And then when you hit save, it'll note the staff member that confirmed the appointment and the time they confirmed it. We also have the ability to pre-populate an appointment with service items. So if somebody's coming in for an office exam and a rabies vaccine, you can pre-enter that. And then when they come in, you simply have to hit the create invoice button, and it will push those items to a transaction, and that'll be done for you. And that's automated. The reason for visit box is a free-form text field that you can put in whatever you want. So we're pretty excited about the new calendar, the look and the feel. We think it's going to be really a nice addition and be aesthetically more pleasing than what we currently have. And we're always trying to make the software better. Questions? Okay. We've set our, and this requires a significant amount of time, but we have an inventory, procedures, and vaccine section. What we've created is a system whereby it'll come with a bunch of pre-populated codes. So Purina diets, Antec lab codes, prescription medications that we glean from a distributor's list. It's going to come all pre-populated with that. So one of the nice things is if you want, you can simply sit down and go in once you sign up for an account. And if you want to keep inventory, you can. You don't have to. Assign your prices and set your reminder intervals, and you are good to go. So you're able to create categories. You're able to add items. Let's just jump in here and take a quick look at one. Let's see here. Let's try allergy. Well, it doesn't really matter what the item is. So we're going to be able to track, you're going to enter these as by category. Item numbers can be randomly generated, or you can use item numbers that you want, that mean something to you. Item name, unit name. We just launched prescription instructions. So for example, for all your preventatives, you can go in and pre-enter, take 1 tablet or 1 chewable per month year round, and that will automatically show up on the prescription labels. We track minimum, maximum, and current quantity, price, unit cost, previous unit cost. Should sales tax be required in your locality, we have 2 fields for tracking sales tax. We have the ability to assign a minimum dispensing fee at whatever amount you'd like. And then about 3 months ago, we had a request for lot numbers on product. So you can choose to do that or not. and those things get entered during the transaction screen. We have different reminder types, and we have, I don't know what else you would need, but a host of preset reminder intervals from 3 days to 3 months, all the way out to 3 years. And once that's set in here and you transact or sell that item, it'll automatically create the reminder for you. Any questions? And we've got a similar setup for procedures. And then we've separated out vaccinations and vaccines. We find that it's easier to keep them as a separate category. Now, if you... oh, go ahead.
Sorry, going back to that last screen, your minimum dispensing fee, is that a filling fee?
That can be, anything that you want it to be. So, for example, if we're dispensing prednisone tabs, we'll set our minimum dispensing fee at $12. So, if you dispense 6 tabs at $1 each, it's still going to be $12.
Well, the way we currently do it now, and you can just tell me that we'll do it this way, is that we charge a price per pill, and we add $4 to every prescription as the filling fee.
That's, the minimum dispensing fee is not that. The minimum dispensing fee is going to be a set price that you want to get, irrespective of the number of tablets that you are dispensing. So as far as a filling fee goes, no, I don't do that in any of my offices. Again, if that's something that a user would find valuable, it's certainly something we can add in. I have not had a request for that. Okay. So do you use minimum dispensing fees as well?
No.
No.
We just, if I sell 15 cephalexins at 50 cents each, it's whatever that adds up, but then we automatically add the filling fee, and that's to cover the time for the vial, the time to write the label. And I think it's fairly common in the industry.
Yeah, all of our users have asked, and again, the minimum dispensing fee is what I'm used to and what I've found to be very common, where you set that at $10 or $12. And that is, if you dispense 1 ACE promazine tablet, you can set that to $4, $8, you have that flexibility. I have not been exposed to a filling fee.
Okay.
We'll go over this section more in detail in one of the upcoming evenings. Transactions. Let me just jump back here. We have today's transactions. We have open transactions, so these are going to be for generally hospitalized patients, patients that are boarding, and if a client has an outstanding balance for the day's activity, it will stay open here as well. Our transaction section, again, is going to be doctor-driven for those practices that elect to pay their doctors on commission. Then it will be driven by the client, and then it's going to automatically populate with that client's patients. Again, deceased patients will be gray. If you have 3 dogs coming in and they're all coming in for exam and rabies vaccine, what's nice is you can use the control key to select multiple pets and transact for multiple pets. I'm on a Mac today. Hold on one second. And then all you have to do is type in office exam. It's going to populate with those items. And what's nice is it's then going to just drop both of those patients in there. Okay. We have, you can set quantity, unit price, obviously. If an item requires sales tax, that will get calculated based on the values you set. Rabies vaccine, for example, when you transact that, it's going to call for the lot number. So then you're going to be able to put that lot number in, which will show up on the vaccine certificate. And then if you dispense a medication, for example, Clavamox, Again, should you choose to enter a lot number, you can. I have one user who is fixated on lot numbers and reactions and reporting back to manufacturers. We launched lot numbers for products about 2 months ago. And then this is where you would then create your prescription label. If it's pre-populated, great. You put in your expiration date, and you can print these. We support the Dymo label printer, which runs very nicely on PCs and Macs. No one has really come out with a AirPrint or wireless label printer. When they do, we'll certainly be interested in seeing it, but currently we support the Dymo. It's usually the 300 or the 450 label printer, and a label size, it's called the Video Top Label. Dymo characterizes the number as 30326. And those print out very nicely. And all of our labels will run on that particular label maker. Payments are entered. You have various payment modes. You've also got an outstanding balance button here so that if a client has an outstanding balance, it will list the invoices that monies are owed on. And then when payments are applied, they get applied to the oldest invoice first. This is our hospitalization button. You tick this and the invoice will stay open so that you can add items to it over a period of days. If you want to use this as an estimate, clients can sign on an iPad or a computer. And then down here we have the ability to simply save this invoice, or we can save and print it. And that does two things. It will provide you with a PDF to print out, and it will also save a copy of this invoice in the Documents and Images section in the invoice folder. And then what's nice is you tick this little button right here. You can actually save and email that receipt to the client. Our servers send those out. Generally, they'll get the email before they even leave the reception desk. And it just eliminates another layer of paper. Questions?
Previous balance, or just previous balances are not really showing up there.
Because this client doesn't have a previous balance. We don't, in our practices, we don't have accounts receivable. So it's a little challenging for me to demo that. But if you click this tab and you've got a client with an outstanding balance, it will list by invoice number. And I'll just jump back here. So every transaction is randomly assigned an invoice number. So if you do have a client with an outstanding balance, it's going to list those invoices. They will also be clickable, so you can jump and go look at that invoice. And then as they make payments on their account, irrespective of the pet, the oldest invoice will get paid off first, and then moving forward in time.
But when you're actually posting invoice that you're getting ready to print, is there any easy way to know if somebody does owe you money for a previous visit?
Yeah, there's two ways to know that. One, when you're actually in the transaction, right here is outstanding balance. So you're going to see that, or your receptionist will see that. And then when you go to a client and a patient, you'll notice right here we have an outstanding balance button or field, and that is tagged to the client. So that'll be client specific. So if they owe balance of $50 on one pet and $50 on the other pet, the outstanding balance will be $100, obviously.
Sure. But on the invoice, when you showed the example of putting in rabies and exams, that showed an outstanding balance, and that was from today's transaction,
Yes,
though.
that's correct, yes.
So if you have, are you saying, though, that if they had other money they owed, that it would have showed up under outstanding balances, even a higher number than what was generated today?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. We've got a host of reports here. I'm not going to go into those in detail. We've got that set up for another webinar, but they will. All of our reports come out as Excel files, CSV files, so that you can open them in Microsoft Excel. You can open them in Numbers. You can drop them in your Google Drive and open them in your Gmail account. We have sales tax reports, as you can see. We've got some employee tracking in that if anyone deletes a transaction, it requires a reason for the deletion, and it will track the logged in employee date and time that transaction was deleted. We have income and income analysis, inventory service reports, obviously reminder reports. We have client and patient lists, referral sources. We also have a report that will dump out appointments and all appointment information within a set date range. And finally, the settings page. This is where I wanted to wrap up this evening. As the account owner, the My Account section is where if you signed up online, all of your information is going to be populated. This is where you're going to save your signature. And this is where your credit card information will be. That's saved with authorize.net. It's PCI compliant. We don't have those numbers or that. That's all with authorize.net, which is probably the largest payment processor in the country. Edit members is where you're going to add staff members. Where you're going to edit existing staff members. And just to take a look, their information will be in here, their username and password. This is something I like to emphasize in the webinars. Because Vet Office Suite is cloud-based and because access is tied to email addresses, if you are a user of Vet Office Suite and you're also in as a client, don't use the same email address for both. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Great. You can assign different levels of staff members from administrators to regular DVMs or staff members. This is where you can decide if that staff member is to receive an appointment request notification when we launch that through our pet portal, and their signatures can be stored here as well. Let me jump back into here. Practice information. This is where the information that shows up on your certificates and on your receipts is populated from. This is where you can enter, should it be required, your 2 different sales tax fields and the rates. And this is also where you would upload your logo. And I think that covers pretty much everything I wanted to hit this evening. So I'm happy to entertain any questions. Any more questions?
I have one. I have a bunch of them. But I understand that you like not to have account receivable, and I admire that. But if somebody does owe me money and it runs on for length of time, do you have any type to generate an interest fee?
No, we do not.
And I don't want to get in the other doctor's way of having any questions.
I'm here for both of you, so I'm happy to answer whatever questions you may have. Jamie, I don't know if you had any or if you're.
No, I'm okay actually. I think you got most of them, and I know some of these webinars next week will get a little more in depth into some of the other ones. So I think I'm okay.
Fantastic. Feel free to stay and listen, or we'll post this to YouTube when we're all finished.
Will you send a link for that YouTube? I do want my manager to watch this.
Absolutely, and I'll make sure that as soon as Eddie posts it, which will hopefully be tomorrow, that you get a link to that. And I'll get a link to our YouTube page, all right?
Sounds great. I'm going to step out. You gentlemen have a nice night.
Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate your time.
And I'd actually been hoping to bump into you, Eric, because I have some more specific questions. I've actually been looking at your software for a couple of months, and it isn't necessarily going to be useful to have all this recorded. You're welcome to if you want to.
Yeah, no, I can turn that off. Hold on.